Hey, we are back. We are live. It is College Talk Tuesday, and we're here to talk about college stuff. Pearl and Andy Lockwood. Hello, Pearl.
Hello, Andy. Hello, audience.
Hello, studio audience, non-existent studio audience, and live and recorded viewers. So this is College Talk Tuesday, and we talk about college admission stuff, college financial aid stuff, majors and careers, just kind of all the things that perplex and vex parents of college-bound teens and the teens themselves. So today we have a pretty good show because Pearl's been ranting a lot lately, so I didn't really have to encourage you. Actually, I think you came up with one of the topics, which is going to be, I guess, the last one that we talk about. Last in terms of this episode, not last ever, hopefully, depending on how much you rant.
Yeah.
But we are going to be talking about all the financial aid stuff that's happening right now and college admission stuff that's happening right now for seniors, class of 2017, as well as stuff that juniors should be thinking about right now. They're in the midst of finishing up the second half of their junior year, as well as college prep, stuff, visiting colleges, taking ACT, SAT courses, taking the actual standardized tests, summer stuff. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that. And Pearl, you've been getting a lot of sort of continuing to get
Yes.
a lot of panicky emails from parents regarding the FAFSA. There's been some wacky hijinks about that. So then we'll get into your sort of life lesson at the end, which may or may not seem like a rant. I think it's best to use as a life lesson. I don't know exactly what she's going to say.
No,
but
I just have a comment.
yes, she has a comment which may sound like a filibuster.
I'll try not.
Sometimes they
I think
do.
I'm past that point.
Good. She got it all out this morning, apparently, to
Yes.
our kids. Okay. So anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit first about some trends. I'm always on the lookout to try to discern any types of trends I think are worth talking about. And there's, I don't know how long this ad's been running, but I saw an ad that Iona College put out where they announced a $15 million gift and the launching of the Heinz Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, which the way they describe it, interdisciplinary curricular focus for students in any discipline, create new majors and minors in entrepreneurship, and hire people to teach that. So I think that's kind of interesting because it's not unusual for colleges, particularly the non-elite colleges, Ivies and so forth, to come up with new types of majors and fields to attract people, to attract customers. Let's be very frank about
Bluntly, exactly.
But so that's why there's a lot of goofy majors in sports marketing or being a sports agent. There's so many colleges that have established that as a major. It's kind of silly to me because there just aren't that many jobs there, and frankly, a lot of the people who are in the positions that kids hope they can get after they watch Jerry Maguire or whatever they're seeing in the movies or on TV. Most of those people didn't major in sports marketing, probably because the major didn't exist. This, on the other hand, is a little bit different. I think that as the economy continues to change and we say goodbye to the old economy, I think what kids need to understand is whether or not they're actually technically entrepreneurs or business owners. I think what they have to understand is that they still need to think entrepreneurially. So what that means to me is, and I think this might even be a literal definition of entrepreneurship, what that means to me is that you need to create value out of resources, whether you're an employee or you actually are a business owner or something in the middle. Because I think the people who are going to be rewarded the most are the ones who actually produce sales or opportunities or bring other types of value, as opposed to people who grew up when we grew up or earlier, where you could in many cases go get a job and stay there on your butt for 5-10 years. I mean, maybe phone it in, maybe just kind of do a decent job, but you had the expectation of being able to stay there and always have a job. Well, that changed. That changed before 2008, but it really changed after that. And I'm sort of tipping my cap here to Iona and other schools like that who are embracing that they need to provide actual meaningful skills to justify the tuition that they're charging.
Right.
And it's not Iona in particular that's being called out by not just people like us, but by parents and various pundits, is there's all sorts of colleges that are under fire now because they charge a lot of money, but the kids who graduate from there aren't necessarily in jobs that A, require a college degree. That's 50% of kids, or B, can even make a living.
This is
Anywhere.
In fact, this is not something colleges necessarily want you to know or even start to uncover and think about. I would have to think from a business perspective.
Well, they're being forced to.
They are being forced to
Yeah.
because families are being forced to consider the economic realities of what college costs, and hopefully, as one should treat all of their financial investments, if things are tighter, because things have gotten tighter in the economy over the last 10 years, you need to consider things more critically. And therefore, when you're looking at the tuition bill, and more families are receiving their kids back in their basement after graduation,
Or after orientation.
or after orientation, or after a year, or whatever,
Yeah.
and the investment, the prospects of the return on that investment, first of all are being considered nowadays, but now the colleges are forced to have to back up what their, the value behind the tuition that they charge, and whether you as the customer are going to be able to get at least as much back on what you're putting into that specific, or could you use that money a different way? I'm just saying.
No, those
You
are
better
both-
make sure that the investment you're making, that you're really sure that it's going to at least bring you back what you put in,
Well,
right? Otherwise, you should question why you're making that investment. No.
Yeah, well, that's a very tall order, for a lot of schools. I was just messing around just to see who's watching with us. So if you're just joining us, say hi in comments. Pop your name in there. Let us know if you have any questions, and we always read the comments, even if you don't watch the show live with us every Tuesday, 11:30. That's a recurring theme that we talk about from time to time, which is that colleges are being. Some are being forced. Most of them, I think, are being forced. They're very slow to change in general, but they're reconsidering what their mission is. There's a difference between a liberal arts education and a trade school education, but there's middle ground also. And we're seeing a slow but discernible trend of what we visited a college that our son, who's a senior, got into a few weeks ago, and that's a classic small liberal arts school that actually went out of their way to talk about how they have changed their, for I guess 2 years ago, they put in a plan to incorporate career services and that type of what happens next thinking into the mainstream, as opposed to in some trailer out back, which a lot of colleges have that's where they send their career center people.
And something you should pay attention to if you're on a college tour. Where is that? Where is that career center?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they in a trailer? Or do they have a prominent place on campus, and how connected are they to the students and in placing them in jobs?
Yep. Okay. So that was the first little segment to talk about. Now the next thing is for high school seniors and their families. At this point, and we're back to hit April. At this point, most but not all offers are in, and we still caution everyone before going to a college to try to a financial aid office or to an admissions person to try to. I thought you were twitching.
I'm underscoring what
Okay.
they're saying. This
Okay.
needs to be repeated. Go ahead.
I find your underscoring distracting.
Sorry.
Before you start asking for more money or begging or however you choose to approach it, I like it when we both like to see, I should say, when you have other offers, all offers from all other schools, because some of those offers may actually make your net cost, the total cost less the scholarships and grants, better, and therefore you can use that as leverage against the A-list college. So this is what's happening right now in terms of negotiations. We're waiting for many people to get all their offers in, and usually if there are any stragglers, it's one or two, but I would still say don't jump the gun, just
Right.
wait and then go after the colleges.
Correct. Just we're almost there, but you got to be patient. You don't want to blow your opportunity.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's talk about financial aid and FAFSA panic. So there was an issue that I believe has been resolved. I don't know. Has it been with the IRDRT?
No,
IRS? It has
still not
been.
resolved.
Okay.
No.
So give us the executive summary of the issue with the IRS data retrieval tool for seniors and anyone else who's filing.
Okay. At this point, you may be familiar with a requirement that you are getting called that the IRS DRT needs to be completed on your FAFSA in order, as a requirement of the school that you're applying for financial aid. And unfortunately, and basically what that is, IRS DRT is data retrieval tool, which enables one within the FAFSA to port into that same family's IRS, into the IRS site, and pull that tax information directly back into the FAFSA without your ability to interfere with it. So
well, it was also designed to make everyone's lives easier who are doing the FAFSA and more accurate.
And the schools more accurate, and the schools have that as a requirement so that they can actually rely on it as actual tax information that was submitted on your behalf and can rely on the numbers when then creating an award. Okay. Unfortunately, the IRS is having some internal issue that they are not able.
Internal, or is it the Russians?
Could be. Anyone's guess.
Donald J. Russian. Okay, good. Baldwin.
Yeah. Hate us, like us. Go ahead, give us an angry face.
Pearl, please. Get back to the point.
Okay.
So we established it was the Russians,
so,
and what happened?
Right. So unfortunately, the email blasts from all the colleges are continuing to make that a requirement. And
still?
So we got
Really?
still on there as a requirement. The IRS DRT,
Impossible.
suffice to say, the IRS came out a couple of weeks ago that function is no longer working. And it's going to be, and that's indefinite. So we don't know when that's
suspended.
going.
Yeah.
As far as I can see, it doesn't feel like this particular financial aid season it will reemerge and work. But
feelings matter.
Feelings don't matter. This is the sense I'm getting, the buzz, the unofficial buzz in the industry. So what this means, in a default situation when it doesn't work for someone, the IRS DRT, before this happened, the substitute would often be obtaining an IRS tax return transcript for the year in question, and for this year, for seniors, it's 2015. So what I would recommend, if you are applying, or if you've applied to a school that is still requiring the IRS DRT, you can, and you're concerned about that holding up a financial aid award, first of all, you can call the school, because at this point, it is known that the IRS DRT function no longer works, and they may say, oh, don't worry about it, or they may say, then you need to go to irs.gov and obtain a tax return transcript, not account, return transcript, because there are two types that are offered on the IRS site, for 2015.
How long does that take?
To receive?
Yeah.
It takes about 5 to 10 business days to get it. And they're pretty reliable with that.
Okay.
And obviously, since that's the same institution that is having the issue with the IRS DRT, they have declared it. They know that they're going to be getting these requests. Okay, but my first recommendation would be to contact the school to see if perhaps that requirement is done away with.
Cool. So the information still needs to be used in the FAFSA. It's just that at least temporarily, the IRS data retrieval technology or tool is just not working. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So there's all sorts of other panicky emails that we talk about from time to time. Like some schools say, "Hey, we didn't get your form, your FAFSA," and then the client will send that to Pearl and say, "Hey, what happened here?" And then 99.9% of the time, you're able to pull up a filing receipt that shows that in fact the FAFSA was sent over months or weeks ago.
Yes.
So just because you get some sort of alarming email from,
and it's from a big old college or university that thinks it's important.
Okay, there's the rant.
Doesn't mean they're right.
That's a pre-rant, by the way.
It is. No, but
just be calm and make sure that I guess don't always believe it, but you should verify it, but don't immediately go to level 11. You should, your panic level should naturally go up a little bit, but don't go off the charts.
And as I've said every week, unfortunately, misinformation gets disseminated regularly, routinely, every single day.
FAFSA news.
Yes, from schools who just don't have their, I guess, act together enough to have every bit of information that they're sending out that things are missing is in fact so and verified within their internal systems.
By the way, we don't blame you for panicking. It's just
but unfortunately, this is what I'm saying is the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's different than when you mail a letter and I mean, so far we haven't had this meddled with. You know that about a day, depending on where this letter's going, if you're mailing it locally or two later, people are going to receive it. In that same way to have that confidence,
unless the Russians
we can't have that confidence with respect to messages from colleges and universities with respect to your financial aid and what they actually have and don't have, and so don't have that expectation.
All right. Hello to Tamara Ramirez from California. Hi to Jenny Craig Britt, who said thanks for the intel or info. Okay, good. And hi to Rosemary Whistler. Okay, good. Nice of you guys to join us. If you are just joining, pop a comment in. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. It is the comment section after all. And if you're watching us on replay, same thing. Say hi, pop them in comments, and we'll answer them. So, okay, now the moment that I personally have been waiting for. Pearl has a little bit of life lesson here / rant. I don't know. You seem to be a little more calm than this morning and previous mornings, but you've been getting, I guess, sort of segueing off of what we were just talking about. You have received a whole bunch of inquiries from clients, including some youngsters. Of course, we're not going to name names, right?
No, of course not.
Are
no,
we?
Of course.
Okay.
No way.
I was hoping, but sort of not.
I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but I am in a position where I come across a lot of kids, who are
I'm not
in high
done framing.
school.
Okay, so I'm not done framing this because I want to make sure you get the life lesson and not just the rant. Not that I'm being disparaging, but so I think where Pearl was going.
Of little faith.
Okay, so we're of some faith. So where I was going with this is that Pearl's in a position not only as someone who communicates with kids and clients for a living, but also as a mom with teens who are headed to college and then life afterward, but also as a person who's been through working different careers and jobs and is in a position to pass along names of people to other employers and potentially hire people and all that. So you have a few different roles or hats or lenses.
Me to respond.
Yeah, or lenses. Yeah, so
Correct.
there's a few different levels. So there's the level of oh my God, you're really responding to me this way, which you can, of course, vent about. But then there's also what are the broader implications?
That is correct.
Okay, so go.
Okay, so here is just this example. I received an email, several repeated emails, from a client in particular, or student. Yeah. So this is a 12th grader. This is a college-bound 12th grader of above average intelligence. And again, so this is our relationship. I am preparing financial aid forms for her family, and we're helping, with other things as well. This student sends emails using no capital letters, not for names, not for beginning of sentences. I'm a grown-up.
Well, how are you addressed? What's the tone?
The tone is if I was maybe a 12-year-old and asking my other 12-year-old friend to meet me on the corner while I was chewing some gum. And I'm not your buddy. I'm not your friend.
See,
you know me in a professional capacity. I found it disrespectful.
Oh, I thought there were more demands as opposed to requests.
Yeah, there was no okay, so in part and parcel, I was being asked,
told.
Commanded. Right, exactly. And believe me, I promise, this is all advice. This is not my ego in this. I could give a hoot about the fact that she did. It was not. But believe me, what I would never do is recommend this student for a job, for an internship. And that's a bummer. So for you parents out there.
So let me time out here. Yes, I mean, this is mostly not ego or offense, but it is offensive. And she was,
It's
just
rude.
to be fair, you were a little taken aback by the rudeness, which
Yes.
you should be. So we're not.
Well, and it caused me,
We're
I'll
humans.
tell you, as a mom, I want to make sure my 4 kids
Right.
know how to write
Address.
an email, address anybody.
People,
Forget that.
well,
I'm not even on a
so
power
here's-
trip
may I
and
make
I'm a
this point?
grown-up.
So
But
the
yes.
point I was going to make is that that is exactly the main idea, which is that when our kids, leave the nest and go, fly off, they are not going to be communicating with their peers only. They're going to be communicating with people who are older than them, who do not respond and communicate the same way.
Who you may also want something from.
And that too. But this is now from a different perspective. This is me reading about what employers want, what employers who are polled, what they complain about, and all these types of things. And there's this overall very, very heavily pervasive idea that kids are too entitled, that kids don't understand how to respect, how to communicate well with proper respect. It doesn't have to be formal,
No,
but it has
totally
to be.
not.
May I?
Yeah.
That's not respectful. So yeah. So that's really in a microcosm what Pearl's experiencing is one of the problems why this country's going down the toilet. No,
Exactly.
I don't really think so. But why employers are very disappointed at the level of preparedness evidenced by kids who are graduating college, because it's not just that they majored in stuff that has nothing to do with anything they'll ever learn, but it's also the social skills.
Right.
So the bigger
This
picture
is a
here-
low-hanging fruit, people. This is an it's an easy lob. Well, wasn't this my rant?
Yeah, but I'm gonna give it back to you.
Okay.
But my point, it's always your rant. My point is that you experienced in a nutshell, in sub and substance, the exact type of thing that we are, and I'm not criticizing our clients for this because it's many kids, but I feel like just the way you said this, if my kids act like this toward outer adults, I mean, listen, when they're all talking to themselves and going back and forth and whatever,
That's one thing.
that's different. But in the
But it
outside
is
world,
different.
they need to mind their P's and Q's, and it would be mortally embarrassing. And as a matter of fact, I would feel like we fell short in our roles as parents.
Correct.
And I know we're on the same page here, if we don't explain to them that, listen, I know that, on one level it's okay, but on another level you have to understand you can't do this. IT.
Exactly.
So maybe they'll respond, maybe they won't, because a lot of parents and kids don't, really have these types of conversations or get along or whatever. But I think the good news is you got to experience this, and we'll mention this to our clients also, because that's our duty. Well, we constantly mention that to our kids. Well, actually, you know what? Whatever the shortcomings are, I don't feel like this is one of them.
I agree.
I feel very confident in that, which is a relief.
Which is probably
Personally.
why I had such a strong response to it from someone else's kid.
Yeah.
Because when I say it's a low-hanging fruit, what I mean is, look at all the money you're spending to invest in your kid, to send them to college. You're parting with all this money to send your kid to college so that they can, be able to live independently of you and put a roof over their heads and have a job and have a career and what?
Get off payroll.
Get off your payroll, exactly. But the low-hanging fruit is, you mean the general P's and Q's, you mean this kid could go all the way through college, get himself an interview, and then send an email like this, and that would be the deal breaker? Wow, wouldn't that be a shame? When I say it's a low-hanging fruit, this is such an easy fix. These are the basics.
Yeah. Sad.
Because unfortunately, my response, not only that she doesn't know better, what I assessed from this was she lacked the judgment to know she is writing and talking to someone older, talking to a professional, talking to someone who's not a friend, relative, someone you have a casual relationship with, somebody you are asking something from that you need, and no pleases, no thank yous, no capital letters, just there. To not know that at this point, unfortunately, as a self-employed business owner, and I'm always looking at that and skills and whatever, I would never hire someone like this, or recommend them, or send their resume along, or anything.
Now, by the way, was it just one kid, or was it more than one?
Who have conducted themselves like this?
No, that you personally were experiencing. Just one? Or was it more than one? Just one?
I'm not going to get into the specifics, okay?
It's either or.
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So it's more than one?
I'm not getting into the specifics.
That's not a specific question.
The point is, there are kids who conduct themselves this way, and then there are kids who I've seen who
More than
can,
one.
make me really, wow, this kid's a sharp kid. This kid's a winner, and I haven't even met the kid.
Right.
But somehow, in this non-physical introduction, I'm able to tell a winner from a loser.
Okay, Pearl.
What? Shall I soft sell it for you? I think that's actually not helpful. I'd rather be straight up.
Okay. Well.
And you can turn me off.
Okay. Like the email did. So,
Yeah.
just to come full circle, so we started off talking about changes and how I think certain colleges like Iona are starting to understand that we need to be thinking more entrepreneurially, and that involves how to market yourself and how to make great first impressions. This is certainly maybe or maybe not an instance of a kid who doesn't know how to make a good impression. Hopefully when she's in different settings, she's not going to, maybe we're too familiar to her, although I can't imagine that being the case.
No.
There could be a bunch of other excuses. The point is, if you're going to err somehow, err on the side of going the extra mile, using the proper punctuation, being nice, saying thank you,
Right.
All that type of stuff, being grateful, not just shooting off, emails to people like, there's some, I don't know,
Hired
servant.
hand.
Yeah, it's just silly.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was that could have been a lot worse. I don't feel like that was particularly ranty. Do you want to do another take, or
Nah.
it's
You're
live
gonna
anyway.
have to catch me live. Not in
So
car
5:30
reflection.
tomorrow morning, there could be another rant coming. That's usually when they come. That's usually because of dirty dishes left out, or wrappers put back in the freezer that are empty from ice cream, and other things like that. That's not really necessarily part of our Facebook
Not
Live.
part of college planning, no.
No, well, in a way it is, because our kids need
Well,
to
it
understand
certainly
that
makes
too.
Right. It makes me question: are you going to be able to really live on your own?
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up here. So I enjoyed this more than you'll ever know. I hope you guys. Enjoy this also. And again, we're open to your comments, and looking forward to helping you in any way. I've got a workshop coming up tomorrow night locally here in Garden City. We have about 36 or 37 people registered. I think we can hold about 45, so there's still some seats left. The information for that is on our website, our main site, collegeplanningGuru.com. And I'll be back with an edition of College Coffee Talk, which I do every morning, Monday through Friday, except Tuesdays. And that's to answer any questions that I realize that we haven't answered yet. So thanks for watching. Pearl and Andy Lockwood signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.